So while I worked at Jackson Rosenstein Medical Science Building, which is now UM's medical campus, with Dr. Hoffman, I became a pharmaceutical rep. And for 19 years, I did research and sales for Searle Pharmaceuticals. Searle Pharmaceuticals was a small company from out of Chicago that did big research. They were heavily research-based in cardiovascular, women's health, female health. They had one of the first, I was going to say abortion, but I didn't mean that. Birth control pill, Demelin 135, and also in allergies and so yeah, so I worked with them for 19 years until 1999. And while I was working with them, I've always done work in the community. And I have a son, as I explained to you. Gordon's friends were now coming back from college, and many of them had gone to art school. I'd volunteered at DASH, Design and Architecture Art School, and right here in the Design District, close to where we live. And many of the artists were coming back from New World and DASH and Michael Kropp to Miami from really prestigious schools, Pratt Institute, RISD, coming back with this really mature contemporary language to a Miami in 1996 that was still trying to define itself as a space. I remember Barbara Gilman. You remember Barbara Gilman's gallery in the Design District? She was, I have lots of affection for her. Her gallery was one of the places that opened her doors to me really early. So and they were complaining. I'm talking about Caribbean kids and young people. And they were complaining that they would follow what they thought was the proper thing to do, take a portfolio to a gallery. And many times after having had an appointment with the galleries, they would get there and there was no interest in the work. The galleries barely opened the pages. And I was just hearing these stories every time I saw them in when we were going from gallery to gallery. So I said, why don't we do something for ourselves? What are you waiting to? You have this knowledge, you need to create. And it started in our living room in Morningside. We started with 5 artists coming, bringing work in progress. Many of them were doing really contemporary stuff, installation work. Taking a dot and superimposing it and adding things and using leaves, ephemeral stuff that was not work, that was object work, right, that you could put on a wall. It wasn't a painting that you could put on a wall and sell. They could all paint, they could all draw, but that was not where the work was. And so that is how we started, humbly. It wasn't a conscious, I'm going to get up and start a gallery. It was, let's create a space so that you can continue to create your work. And in 1996, we did the first exhibition. I had a studio at the Bakehouse Art Complex, which is thriving today. But in those rundown, there was no air conditioning. We had to make do, but there were studio spaces in Wynwood that we could use. So in the beginning, what would happen is the artists would come on the weekend to our home in Morningside, and I would push away the furniture and we would do collective work. They would present what they were working on. And while that was happening, I secured 2 studio spaces at the Bakehouse Art Complex with the view to show this work, to give them a chance to expose the work. And the Bakehouse, as you know, is in Wynwood on 32nd Street. And that's where we started. And we started with I knew I had to trick the Caribbean public to come, because many of them were not familiar with this new way of doing work. And so we had a program called Final Fridays. It was the last Friday of every month from 6 until 10. And we had a full Caribbean meal that I cooked. My mom helped me to cook it. Full Caribbean meal. We had live music. And we had spoken word and contemporary art. And so you came to spend those 4 hours with us. We charged $15 at the gate at the bakehouse, and you had a meal, sat, and enjoyed the work. And we did that at the bakehouse for over 5 years. And then I moved to the design district. So the beginning was really creating a community. It was not a conscious decision to start an arts organization. We spent a lot of time looking at the name. I use the term diaspora. I come from scholarship. I am not a scholar, but I come from scholarship. I use the word diaspora, vibe meaning the vibe that the Caribbean people bring with our music and our dance and our theater, and then the term gallery. So it started as Diaspora Vibe Gallery. And then in 2003, we became a nonprofit Diaspora Vibe Cultural Arts Incubator. And the term incubator comes from my background in microbiology, where we incubated eggs and all the stuff that you have to do in a lab in order to do research. So there was purpose to the naming. And so now, I remember my Jewish friends would come and say, how come you can call this place diaspora? And I said, yeah, there is the common terminology and connotation of the diaspora is the Jewish diaspora. But in truth and in fact, wherever large numbers of human beings move and are scattered and become a community in large amounts, not just 2 people, that is a diaspora. So the term from 1996 to now has become really popular. But Dr. Carol Boyce Davis from FIU, I don't know if you know Carol, but Dr. Carol Boyce Davis was very kind to me. She was doing the encyclopedia on Caribbean art, and she would give me an essay each month to put out to explain the terms of what a diaspora is and how it is defined in academia. And I will forever thank her for that, because it gave me the language to counter the buffing that I was getting from folks saying you can't use that term. So those are the beginnings. And you may not find anything at the bakehouse that says that, but we have hundreds of exhibitions because we did them once a month. And we did not only solo exhibitions, many artists from around the United States came to Diaspora Vibe, and many of them did their first exhibition with us at the Bakehouse Art Complex.